Okay, I think that we will probably get started, and this session is being recorded. So if anyone is joining later on, we will provide that recording later. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Alex Berliand. I'm here with the Ontario Tourism Innovation Lab, and with me is Jasmine Bergy, that is from Indigenous Tourism Ontario. And today we're going to present and talk about the Ontario Tourism Innovation Lab, and in particular the Skode program for mentorships and grants. And I'll just pass it on to Jasmine actually to introduce herself and talk about Indigenous Tourism Ontario.
Thanks, Alex, for the intro. Hey, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Jasmine Bergy, and I'm the Director of Member Relations at Indigenous Tourism Ontario, otherwise known as ITO. I'm excited to be here today and really grateful to be partnering with Ontario Tourism Innovation Lab to bring this opportunity to Indigenous entrepreneurs for the first time this year. Before we jump into the program details, Alex and I will share a little bit about our organizations and what we do. And as mentioned, we'll have plenty of time at the last half of this session for all of your questions. So to start, ITO is a not-for-profit provincial association dedicated to improving the socioeconomic conditions of Indigenous communities while providing that platform for cultural expression through tourism. Since its inception in 2016, we've seen exponential growth through our membership and our team. Our membership is made up of Indigenous communities, organizations, and businesses, as well as supportive allies who have the common goal of growing Indigenous tourism in Ontario. ITO is the first and only recognized voice for Indigenous tourism in Ontario, and through partnership and collaboration like the one that we have with the lab, we work to bring Indigenous tourism operators, programs, and initiatives that support 4 pillars of growth. And at ITO, those 4 pillars include marketing and branding, product development, HR development, and cultural authenticity. And our strategy and our COVID-19 recovery plan was shaped by you, the Indigenous tourism operators, and we continue to engage with and provide that tailored support to our members through unique programming like Skode. Next slide, please. So the Skode program, I'll start with the meaning. Skode means fire in Anishinaabemowin, and the program was developed with the vision of fostering innovation in the tourism industry and guiding Indigenous entrepreneurs in the development of new ideas, especially during this adaptation phase. This program is about celebrating, what you're most passionate about and what lights that fire for you. So with that, I'll pass it to Alex to tell you about the lab.
Miigwech, Jasmine. So a little bit about the lab. The Ontario Tourism Innovation Lab is a nonprofit initiative that's created to find, foster, and support new tourism ideas, experiences, and partnerships. Part of what we do also is to build a community of tourism innovators, idea makers, and entrepreneurs in Ontario. The program was launched as a pilot in Windsor, Essex, Ontario in 2018. And the lab and its Spark mentorships and grants program has expanded to over 10 regions across the province over the last few years. The program actually is sitting under Hack Forge, which is based at the University of Windsor in the epicenter. So the Indigenous Tourism Skode program matches selected candidates with a mentor and provides a source of financial support to help take their great new tourism idea to the next level of development and implementation. So a little bit about what the program includes. Essentially, it's a province-wide call out for new Indigenous tourism ideas, with May 28th being the deadline. Application reviews by Indigenous tourism leaders, entrepreneurs, and partner representatives. And the program culminates at the virtual finalist pitch session, which is happening on June 17th, during which a judge panel selects the 3 winning applicants of the program. So in terms of what the winning applicants receive at the end of the program, each applicant receives a 3-month mentorship with the tourism innovator, experienced operator, or sector expert. We never pre-select mentors. We always talk to who the winners are to understand their needs and areas of support, and then we match them with the right mentor. Each winning applicant also receives a $5,000 non-repayable financial contribution to support their tourism idea in the early stage development. They get additional support and resources provided by ITO, Indigenous Tourism Ontario, and other program partners. They also get access to a support network of tourism innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders, and ongoing guidance on other resources and support services provided by partners. A little bit on definitions. I'll pass it back to Jasmine.
Okay, thanks, Alex. And we'll be going through a couple of definitions that we use on the website and in the application to help clarify any questions surrounding the terminology. So when we talk about Indigenous tourism, it really is any tourism operation that is no less than 51% Indigenously owned and operated, and demonstrates a connection and responsibility to the local Indigenous community and traditional territory in which the operation resides. Next slide, please. To take that a step further, Indigenous cultural tourism is any Indigenous tourism operation that features distinct Indigenous cultural components. And the key here really to the cultural authenticity piece is the delivery and the development and the delivery by Indigenous people. And that ultimately ensures that it's appropriate, that it's respectful, and that it's true to the local Indigenous communities. In terms of who can apply, sorry, next slide, please, Alex. In terms of who can apply, the Skode program is accepting applications from any Indigenous entrepreneurs, businesses, community groups, and nonprofits in Ontario. If you're not currently a member of ITO, that's totally fine. We ask that you head over to the ITO membership page to register as part of your application. And I'll be posting the link in the chat for easy access. Registration is free and available all year round. We accept new members any time of the year. And my email is available on the Skode program website. So if you have any questions about membership registration, or if you want to confirm your membership with ITO, I'd be more than happy to help you out. Just shoot me a message.
Okay, thank you, Jasmine. So in terms of what are we looking for in terms of our, how we define new Indigenous tourism ideas. So ideas that address one or more of the following, and we're keeping it fairly broad because we want to make this, of course, as inclusive as possible. So ideas that enhance current tourism offerings, create new high quality tourism experiences, addresses gaps in tourism products and services, motivates travel, longer stays and repeat visits, and increases year-round visitation and tourism spending. So we are especially interested in Indigenous tourism ideas that connect with and demonstrate the core principles of Indigenous tourism. And I'll talk about each of these in a bit more detail, but they are community, cultural authenticity, leadership, sustainability, partnership and collaboration, Indigenous food tourism standards, as well as ideas that connect with technology, incorporate sustainability principles, and build future resilience. So what is a tourism idea? Again, the tourism idea is experiences, products, and partnerships that motivate travel to your region by people living more than 40 kilometers away and provide engagement, participation, purchasing, and travel-related opportunities while they're visiting. To be clear on what we consider a new idea, tourism experiences, products, and partnerships that are in ideation stage have just been created or have been offered publicly for 6 months or less. So the idea itself doesn't have to be market ready necessarily. We're specifically interested in that early stage development. To define further what we mean by experiences, they are opportunities for visitors to engage, participate, learn, and explore to gain a local understanding and broader awareness of a destination, often combining different elements. For example, a farmer's market tour followed by a culinary class led by a local chef, bringing all these elements together. Products, which are viable goods and services related to tourism in the region. So for example, specific tours, accommodations, attractions, events, travel packages, and other bundles. And we always emphasize partnerships. We always say partnerships drive innovation. And that means two or more businesses, organizations that are working together to promote and deliver a new tourism-related experience or product. Now to talk a little bit about how to actually apply for this program. So the application, as I mentioned earlier, also we're trying to make this as inclusive as possible. So it's a fairly short application that is limited at 1,000 words maximum document, responding to the following 8 questions. So naturally, your contact information about yourself, your business. What is your new Indigenous tourism idea? How do you consider that idea to be innovative or unique? What stage are you at with your idea? Defining your target market and partners, and telling us in detail how you're going to use the Spark mentorship and financial support if you're selected. And eventually, what are your hoped outcomes for the future? The second piece of the application is we ask for a 1-minute video introducing yourself and your new tourism idea. It's important to note that we're not looking for videos to be edited in any kind of way. We're just looking for a simple recorded video where we get to see who you are and hear you talk about your idea. And speaking of ideas, you can also head to our website and check out any of these examples of past successful entrepreneurial ideas related to tourism. There's some really, really great concepts here. One in particular that you see on the middle there, Explore with Great Spirit Circle Trail, is an Aboriginal Indigenous idea that is based out of Manitoulin Island. It offers nature learning and outdoor experiences with a cultural component. And I think, Jasmine, you also had a couple to share.
Yes, so we would also encourage you to check out indigenousexperienceenontario.ca. Some of you watching right now may already be listed alongside award-winning experiences across Ontario. So take a look and get to know what others in the industry are doing. 2 great examples who are previous Spark program winners actually are TJ Stables and the developing Three Fires restaurant in Caldwell First Nation. Their businesses really embody the core principles of Indigenous tourism that were presented before and are on the website. So definitely encourage you to check them out when preparing your applications.
And this brings us to the end of our presentation today and the info session. We'll obviously give some time for questions right now. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here.